Because it's all part of the mind that actually flows like that. Because I realize that the human mind is a 3.5-pound gland.
So then we get to, of course, to Robin Williams' death, and it was widely reported that Robin Williams died by suicide.
Right.
And then it was also further reported that he was suffering from a condition called Lewy Body Dementia.
Yeah, I have no idea what Lewy Body Dementia is. And I had never even heard the term until you brought it up. What is Lewy Body Dementia?
Well, first, let's step back and just talk about dementias in general. I think people have heard that word, and they probably equate it to Alzheimer's disease, which is by far the most common type of dementia, where people, usually older in their 70s and beyond, begin to lose their memory. Then they start to lose executive functioning, that is, the ability to make complex decisions. This ultimately, universally progressive and ultimately fatal disease, usually ends up with a person developing an aspiration pneumonia or some other condition that ultimately kills them well past the point when they've been able to interact meaningfully with the external environment. So that's the typical course of Alzheimer's disease. But there are other dementias that are less common, and Lewy body dementia is one of them. And while in later stages of the disease, people do have difficulties with memory, the first things that start to appear are difficulties walking. It may start to look a little bit like Parkinsonism, but you also start to have very vivid visual hallucinations. I don't know anything about the stage that Robin Williams was in. That wasn't widely reported or anything like that. But it can be a difficult disease to deal with the fact that you have it or that a loved one has it, and that it is uniformly progressive. Dementias are not something necessarily to be feared. If we talk about them openly in society, you need to plan for them. You need to plan for your loved ones and yourself to need progressive amounts of care and assistance to be able to get through the day. And eventually people who live long enough and progress far enough with dementias require 24/7 observed care. But it's something that we need to talk more and openly about. Also, I want people to know Lewy body dementia does not always or even often end with somebody taking their own life or dying by suicide. Maybe that was a factor in Robin Williams' decision to end his own life. We don't know, and I wouldn't speculate on that.
Did he say anything leading up to it?
Not that I've been able to find.
He certainly does talk about drug addiction. His wake-up call was when Belushi died. That's what kept him, or made him try and get sober. I don't want to make a jump to say that anything caused his death, but I do want to talk about just cocaine use in general. Cocaine is one of those drugs that can essentially reprogram your brain. Is that correct?
Well, many of them can, but yes, cocaine can. And it does that by rearranging how your brain responds to dopamine and other chemicals.
I remember watching Dope Sick. One of the things they talked about was with OxyContin. They made it so that you couldn't feel joy anymore unless you had Oxy. Like, it was so rewritten that, like, you couldn't feel good. You couldn't feel okay ever unless you had Oxy. It wasn't a matter of getting off and stop using it. It was that you were so reprogrammed, you couldn't ever get back to feeling okay.
The same thing can happen for people with cocaine as well. I mean, it was widely reported that the set of Popeye, the movie, which Robin Williams was in, was cocaine-fueled. The fact that he has talked about, or he did talk about when he was alive, is out there. I don't know, and you can't draw a direct correlation between drug use and something like Lewy body dementia in an individual person. But what we do know is the likelihood that you're going to develop a dementia does increase the more drugs and alcohol that you use.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all.
You are insulting your brain with chemicals that shouldn't be there.
Yeah. Where would you rank marijuana on that? Does marijuana rewrite your brain?
I want you to hit me as hard as you can.